Welcome to Craft and Geek, the podcast about cosplay, making, and geek life. I'm Eric, one of your co-hosts, also known as Coregeek. Go ahead, Jackie.
Hi, guys. Jackie Craft. How are you doing?
Hey, Jackie.
Hi. Wow.
And today we
Way
have...
to leave me just with the world's most longest, lingering, awkward pause after that, Eric. Gosh. Getting me back for all the laughing intros.
Today we have two special guests.
Oh,
Hello.
None other than Benny and Svetlana. See, I'm having a hard time with your name already. From Kamui Cosplay. Yay!
Yay!
It's great to be on the show.
Thanks
Thank you
so
very much for having us.
Thank you.
Well, we're very
What a
excited.
wonderful guest.
Yeah, absolutely. And they come all the way to you from Germany. So we will...
Yes.
We will...
We are
They're in the future.
Yeah, they are in the future.
Your third show, and you're already rolling in the international guests. So
Yes,
I know, gosh.
right? Yeah, nothing but quality from Craft and Geek, okay? Nothing but quality. So, but yeah, we're super excited to have you guys on today. And just as a, kind of like a quick little thing for me, and I know Jackie's probably going to say something similar, your YouTube tutorials and your books, eventually when you started doing books, were some of the first things I ever found in the cosplay community. And I pretty much built the King Loki costume for my daughter, the very first large armor build I ever did, based on your information. So having this come back around and having you on the show and being able to talk to you. I mean, we've known each other for a while, so I have talked to you before, but having you on the show is just, having both of you on the show is really awesome. Wouldn't you agree, Jackie?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's so crazy because I can't even tell you how many times I've told people about you, and they seem like books are kind of, people are like, ooh, books, what is that? Everything's on the internet now. There is something so valuable about having a book right in front of you to flip through that is game changing. Like when I bought your books and made my Lich King painfully over so many months, I had no idea how to even look up things like thermoplastic. Like I would have never gotten the word Worbla had it not come from your mouth. So it was, it jump-started me a lot faster than not having those books. So they're invaluable.
Sorry, Benny just went away to stop.
To break up a fight.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Yeah, and having that resource, and so Benny was showing off his shirt. So just for our podcast right there, buy their books. And I'm always happy to pimp your books because they've been such a help for me. And along with you and Bill from Punished Props, your guys' two big resources. I mean, I don't have to do any of the work because just like everybody that in this conversation right now, I'm sure you guys get tons of questions. How do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And I always say, go buy this book. Kamui Cosplay, go buy this book, Punished Props, because, one of you covers foam really well, one of you covers Worbla really well, and
now sewing.
Yeah, and now sewing. Oh my gosh, you've become.
Oh my gosh, a book about sewing? What? I can't even believe that exists.
Oh my gosh.
So before we get into all that other stuff that that is kind of our main focus, can you tell us just maybe a little bit of information about your history and how you got started in this whole crazy thing that is now your career. So I think that's a very interesting thing as well.
That's a pretty long story, actually, but I try to keep it short. So, in 2003, I read magazines, journals in English, right? Journals? Yeah. Read journals about anime and manga, and they also included reports about conventions like Comic-Con or San Diego Comic-Con, and I figured out that Germany has also some of these conventions, and I wanted to visit them. But I also discovered that 80% of all attendees at German conventions are actually coming in costume. So I wanted to be a proper attendee and made my very first costume, like the Great Cyberman from Dragon Ball Z. And this was also actually the year when I met Benny. So
14 years ago.
14 years ago. So Benny is actually my very first boyfriend.
Did you guys meet at a con?
No, actually It was anime manga community page, and I wanted to get a boyfriend, and I picked him. So. Lucky you.
I didn't have much say.
Yeah, and 3 years later, I was married. So that's our love story.
I was helping out at a local convention, just writing. That was before Facebook.
there was no Facebook at all.
So
2003.
I just wrote people if they want to come to the convention, because that's how you did it back then, just by direct messages to everybody.
It wasn't a convention, it was a local fan meetup. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And she just stalked me afterwards, basically.
Yeah, I checked out his profile picture and said, okay, he looks good. This one. So,
Were
and
the pictures
actually,
of him in costume?
Oh,
Did he
no.
cosplay?
No, I had like hair to basically here.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and I watched like Interview with Vampires. And,
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So when you went to your first convention, did you decide together, like as a couple, you were going to start cosplaying, or did you know that? Because Benny obviously is very talented too. Those of you that are familiar with him, he does some incredible painting. I think you dabble in 3D modeling, or you have a family member that does, but you also have Ben. So I mean, did you know that he was going to be so well suited for your cosplay career, or was that just a happy accident?
Not really. Like I kept on doing costumes, and Benny was always with me at the convention and just carried my stuff. You know, like
I was like a handler.
Yeah. A lot of guys.
Look at me. And Benny was just carrying the stuff and everything. And later, he also started doing my photos, and I think it was at my very first World of Warcraft tier set when I very first had to paint something. And like
before there was only bad sewing.
Yeah, I was already bad at sewing, but I was even worse at painting. And so I discovered, hey, Benny could actually help me. And then it actually started that I just throw all my stuff in his face, and he still, like, years later, he had to work basically the whole day, and like came at 6 p.m. in the evening, and I was just a student, and since my professors didn't show up at the university, I had plenty of time to craft stuff. And then he came home at 6 p.m. and I said, paint it.
Your whole armor.
Yeah.
So did you know that he was a talented painter at the time, or was it just kind of like, hey, maybe he'll try this? Or were you in art school or something, Benny? Or
I studied more like graphical design.
Oh yeah, hey, me too.
More like layout and stuff, which is helpful for the books.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Unintentionally, but I never really paid attention in school, so I was always drawing basically on the side of the page. So I guess
because you were artsy, did you? I know for a fact that you wore a costume. She got you in a costume at some point, I believe.
Okay. Sorry.
No, I want to hear.
Yeah. So I wore like all my Droid costumes, and the very last I wore was actually Droid T8. You know, it was full of body painting, and I wore corset or whatever, like a wig and stuff, blah blah blah, heavy over. And then it was like always, it can't be that bad. Why do you complain the whole time? And I was like, you know what? Let's check that out. So, my last Droid tier set, which was Droid tier 9, I made it twice. Once for me and once for Benny.
Oh my gosh. You can imagine where the story is going.
So I worked on the whole costume for 3 weeks, and we went to BlizzCon, and we put like body painting in the morning and everything, and I made him super pretty and put like mascara and eyeshadow on, and he got a pretty wig and long hair, and he looked super fabulous and everything. And he wanted to get out of the costume after 3 hours. You know what? But
3 hours? What a lightweight. Right? I mean, come on, 3 hours? That's nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
3 hours, yeah. 3 hours, yeah. But then he understood.
Yeah. And has he been back in one since?
We've done more like Doctor Who.
Yeah, we did once a Doctor Who costume. And you know what? We were with that at DragonCon, okay? And so we were at the parade, and then the parade, they were like all the LARPers with their heavy armor, like real metal armor and fur and everything. It was like 40 degrees Celsius, whatever it is, like cooking temperature outside in Fahrenheit. And they were like sweating and everything, water run down them in their face. And Benny was like in his suit. I cannot turn this off. I want to die.
You're always choosing the bad ones. Like I go to 2 conventions. It's in Anaheim during the middle of the summer and to DragonCon. Like we're from Germany. It was snowing this morning, and we're not doing any conventions here. Only the hot ones.
So only the hot conventions is what you go to, right? So. That's hilarious.
Dragon Con is legendary. Dragon Con is it's painfully hot because it's humid and sticky and feels like a swamp. Oh gosh.
Yeah, but imagine you're a German coming to Dragon Con. Like we've been twice now.
Yeah.
And the first time, I think we were awake at 8 in the morning because we wanted to see everything and wondered where everybody was. And then we went to bed at like 9 because we were tired.
Yeah.
What is this convention? Where's everybody?
Where is everybody?
The Americans are starting at 9.
Yeah. So.
And then it goes to 8 in the morning.
So, but this was actually like Benny's costume stories.
Yeah.
I seem to recall. Did you do a Waldo once too? From Where's Waldo?
It's just how I look normally.
You should do a Waldo.
For some reason, I thought I remember seeing you in a Waldo costume. So anyway, never mind. Oops.
Yeah, but I'm more interested in the crafting aspect. Like yeah. I guess it's the same for you nowadays to a certain point.
Yeah, actually, I like to make the costumes now, you know, and I don't really want to wear them. Like, I really like to put stuff together and everything. Like, I really worked for a pretty long time at the summoner, and I didn't even have a photo shoot with that, and now it's like, the costume is done. I want to make the next costume instead of taking photos of my old one. So I'm more like into crafting. I like to discover things. Like for example, right now I'm working on the Shadow Carja armor from Horizon, and I'm doing all the sewing, which is totally crazy, especially because Benny is doing all the armor. Yeah, he's now 3D printing and laser cutting the whole armor, and I sew everything. So twisted world. Mm-hmm. And before it was like I always made the armor, and Benny was painting it. And like over the time, like during our cosplay career, Benny also is now responsible for handling the emails and the messages and like the layout and like buying stuff, taxes, painting, laser cutting, taxes. 3D printing, and I do only the cool stuff.
Benny can do it all. Yeah. He's like the utility tool, right? It's like Swiss Army knife Benny.
Yes.
Pretty much. So, but I mean, things change when you go self-employed. I'm sure definitely. You can relate to that. Like
definitely. Have you guys ever...
Going back from work, you like craft in the evening and spend your time that way, and suddenly it's your day job, but you have to do all the managing and email and communicating and taxing thing as well.
All the business side of it too. Have you ever considered bringing on employees? Have you had that yet?
It's not that easy actually. Like for like Bill, for example, because he lives in Seattle, like he has such a big creative community around him, but we're pretty much in the middle of nowhere here. So even if we wanted to bring in people, it's kind of hard to find anybody.
Even our tax consultant has no idea what we are doing.
Yeah, they're like, what is this PayPal thing you're using? How is it working? Like,
is he just like, how do you make money doing this? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty difficult, especially like in Europe or Germany, we are pretty much alone in this whole field. We cannot like exchange with anybody. We don't really know anybody else who is doing it. So while in the States, all of my friends are somehow self-employed and creative and like living their dream and doing stuff, you know, it's here in Germany, it's pretty hard actually to get even to know somebody who are doing the same stuff as we do.
That's crazy because I feel like the European, just as an American looking in, a lot of the European cosplayers I follow, which there are a lot of them, they are so into their craft. I mean, they take it super seriously. So I just naturally assume that you have a plethora of communities to poke around in. Like, that's crazy to me to think that you
It's probably because you're looking at Europe as a whole.
Yeah.
Like the difference about Europe is
it's huge.
I mean, I can drive to Italy in like 4 hours. But it's hard to talk with them because they're only speaking Italian. So it's not.
That's a good. That's a good point.
With French cosplayers. So
I think we're a little spoiled in the States because we have such a large, massive country. You know, and some of our states are the size of other countries in Europe, and we can drive to any state and still be able to speak to the person, to the people of that state. And I've never really thought about the fact that, you have this access to all these other countries, but you maybe don't even speak the same language. So I could see how that would be kind of isolating as far as where you're at and what you're trying to do. And
I mean, it has its advantages and disadvantages. Like, it's good that there's not so much competition Right?
This is true. Yeah.
Definitely. One of the only persons doing it that way. But other than that, it's also not as easy because the creative industry is not that well developed here. Like if you guys have like Seattle and Los Angeles, there's like tons of job opportunities and people.
And we don't have the same supplies, actually.
Yeah. I get a lot of people.
And Epsilon Pro, but no chance.
Yeah, they're like. I tried writing them. Like, when do you get Epsilon Pro? Like the European distributor. They're like, probably in like 8 weeks or something. So it's yay.
Oh my gosh!
So
you need an American friend to mail it to you, or will it get stopped at customs?
Yeah, but then we have it gets taxed and it costs them twice as much at the end. So.
That's no fun. Never mind. I was going to volunteer, but never mind. I don't want to do that now.
So since the community, no, you go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I was going to say, so kind of going back to the beginning of everything. Where did because you're definitely known as kind of the Queen of Worbla. Okay, I've heard that like.
I think not that much anymore.
You don't think so anymore, really?
Yeah, because I still hear it, but I don't really work.
I know you're not working with it as much, but going back to kind of the beginning of everything, was that already a material that was established and being used in Europe? And you
no, not really.
Or was that something that you just kind of discovered on your own? Or I'm just kind of interested in that whole. Because I didn't even hear. Most of us here never heard about it until you started using it and putting videos on YouTube. So.
Actually, dogs are fighting. Actually, like my very first summer, it was the Asmodeon from Ion, like this big purple pink armor, and it was made completely out of Wonderflex. So when I thought about making this costume, I actually tried to find a material which worked for the costume, and I found out there's something which is called Wonderflex. So I did my research, and at this time there were no tutorials, no progress pictures, nothing on Wonderflex, and I basically ordered it completely blind from Cosplay Supplies. I think in 2009, 2010, I had no idea how to even work with it, how it looks like, what it is, no idea. So I ordered that stuff and experimented quite a lot and made my very first armor out of that. But then at my next armor costume, the Barbarian, I got delivery, which actually didn't work quite well. I think it was a misproduction or something like that. So I got stuck with my costume. Like basically, when you heat it up, it gets wobbly and you can work with it. And then when it cools down, then it stays in the shape. But with the Wonderflex, it actually when it cooled down, it shrinked together.
No.
It shrinked together. So every time I made something, at the end I got like wobbles everywhere, and I was not able to smooth it out because I heated it up and it was fine, and then it cooled down and shrink together, and this made me insane. I tried to find a replacement for the material to try to find something better, and actually I think. I don't remember. I think Boris from Cast for Art, who is actually the distributor of
I know Boris.
Contacted me. And so he asked me, hey, do you want to try it out? And I said, yes, got that stuff. And it actually worked for my variant. So I finished my costume and then simply kept on working with Worbla because it's a German product. And I didn't have to import Wonderflex over weeks and pay actually, Wonderflex cost $40 on the website from Cosplay Supplies, but with customs and shipping, I paid $80.
Yeah, double the price because of shipping. Yeah.
So
Worbla was out of convenience.
Yeah, Worbla was just much easier to get, So it was just logical.
Because you were just using it left and right and writing your blog posts. I guess
people would get to know.
It became more popular, and then it swapped over to the States.
I just had a lot of trouble with sewing, and then I noticed, hey, okay, I'm actually good at crafting, so I stay with crafting and try to hide all my bad sewing stuff under armor, so nobody sees it. And yeah, right.
Hey, whatever works, whatever works.
And right now I did so many Worbla armor that I now switched more to EVA foam, and now we're laser cutting everything out of Sintra or
styrene.
Styrene right now.
Styrene, yeah.
So I just try to switch between the stuff. And
but I mean, it's because people call her the Queen of Worbla. Or
I think one of the main reasons is when I attended my very first BlizzCon, I didn't speak a single word English, so I forced myself to learn English.
Wow! So I didn't know that.
That was pretty crazy. So
is there a lot of nodding going on?
So in 2010, I signed up for Facebook, for Instagram, Instagram not, but YouTube, and also made my website already in 2010. And I filled the website, which was just a blog at this time, with all my progress pictures. And since then, it took now 7 years, and people clicked so many times on all these images, which now appear on the image search on Google, that basically if you search for any costume tutorial, I even tried to search for dog costumes and found my Worbla progress picture. Okay.
So you're everywhere. You're definitely international.
It's crazy, yeah.
Not hard to find your work, which is amazing work. All of it, I mean, everything that you guys I've ever seen is just always top quality work. So that's and then so you go from did you start writing blog posts first, and then what made you decide, hey, I should do this as a video and start making videos?
Actually, I also signed up on cosplay.com and, like I said, on my website, and people started asking me questions, because usually if you get them something, then they want
more. Yeah, right. Yeah, it increases, right?
Yeah. So they asked me about 100 times. Okay, what's paper mache? Where can I get it? What's this Worbla? Where can I get it? How to work with Worbla, whatever. And I really tried to help these people. I sit down every day for 1 hour in the morning and try to reply all the emails I got on cosplay.com, for example, and on my blog and everything. And I really felt bad, because the more I answered, people wrote me back and wanted to know more, and they basically took away my time to work on something. And at the same time, I still felt bad because I was not able to help all of these people. So basically I thought, okay, then I make a video, and then they can look at the video, and then they let me alone.
That was still the time we were not very good at English.
Yeah,
if you go to our history on YouTube, you can see the old videos are all in German with subtitles.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that the first video of yours I watched was all in German with subtitles. So but it was still very helpful, and even though I don't speak German, you were still fun to watch too, because you just have such a good personality on camera. So
it felt very weird, but at the same time, I was able to give them just a link, and then I was able to work more on my costumes, and still was able to help people. So it was not like, I want to make the world better and support the cosplay community. It was
leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Stop asking me questions. Here's a link.
And with the books, it was actually pretty much the same. 2 or 3 years ago, we released now our very first cosplay crafting book, the cosplay armor making, right?
The first one.
But I had people before who actually annoyed me and asked me, hey, can you make a collection of all your tutorials, or bring it somehow together? And but you can check out my video. And and then we had a meetup at Bill's place, right? Was it Bill's place?
Friends,
one of his friends. And then there was Bill Durant from Punished Props, and he was like, you should really write a book. You should really write a book.
I've gotten that pitch from him before too. I wrote a book 5 times in my head, but it just doesn't exist anywhere else.
You should really write a book.
You know what though? And you guys know, and I come from a graphic design layout kind of background thing, and it's doing a book is a big undertaking, even if it's just an ebook that goes to a PDF or whatever. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work shooting photos, doing the writing. I mean, you guys know that, because that's kind of your job now.
Do you have 7 books now? Is it 7 or 8?
I 9.
Oh, 9.
9 books already? That's crazy.
Yeah, like 8 of my own, and the 9th one is from the publisher, like the costume making guide. So
that's right.
Yeah, the one that I showed in our first episode.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. Yeah. That was really cool to see it pop up on Amazon. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, like we made our own very first book, but like the main reason for that is that I just canceled my job because
you were fresh out of university.
Yeah, I was fresh out of the university and applied for a job as a social media agent. And so I got a job pretty fast, but at the same time, I got my very first international convention invitation. Actually, it was Montreal Comic Con. Mm-hmm. And like my boss said, you cannot go there because you have to work. And I was not able to take any time off. And I also got my very first commission request from Intel, right, for 2 costumes for BlizzCon. And I had a 40 hours job. Or I could do the commissions, but not both. So I basically had to decide between them, and I canceled then my job after 8.5 days. And since I was then unemployed, I thought, okay, then I make a book.
So you're definitely a risk taker then. Yeah. Because you quit your job to do.
It's only half risk because I had a steady job back then. Like I worked at an advertising agency, so we had still income in case.
Basically it was a risk, but I got my job pretty fast, and I was sure that I would get a new job in emergency. And it was like the money I got from the commissions was basically enough for the rest of the year, so I had enough time to. Yeah, it was 2 costumes. It was plenty of work. So
and you don't have many expenses as a student.
Yeah. So and the thing is, Benny still had a steady job, so he was still my safety plan. And I thought, okay, in emergency, I take another job, but at least I want to try it. I don't want to miss the opportunity. And like the thing with the book, I didn't expect it anything. I just did it like with the YouTube videos, like.
But you had to have invested. I mean, I don't know what it costs to produce the books. I've talked to Brittany Duran a little bit about it, but you took a risk quitting your job and then also investing in getting a book print.
No, we didn't invest in anything. Like I wrote the book in 3 days, and Benny had 3 days for the layout.
You gave me 3 days.
I gave him 3 days. Yeah, Benny came home, and I said, okay, I just announced that in 1 week my book will be done, and he was like, what?
Yeah, and by the way, I'm already taking pre-orders.
So you work better under a deadline, is what you're saying?
No, I got really sick and couldn't go to work for 2 days.
So you guys produced the book yourselves, like it was really in-house.
We got like a.
No, first we did it only digital.
Yeah, so that was just
only the ebook.
That was just an ebook, right?
We didn't plan any printing versions. We just made the digital version and said, okay, you can get it and whatever. And kannst du die mal runterbringen, bitte? Benny, just. Kannst du die mal runterbringen? Mein Gott. Okay. This is Midna. No, this is Zelda, and this is Midna. They look pretty close now. And yeah, actually, we just made the digital version and didn't expect it anything. I just gave it out like, here, take it if you want. If not, and blah, whatever. I'm fine with it. So we didn't really take a risk. It was just 1 week of work and
just the time to invest into it.
Yeah,
and then when we announced the printed version, we got like orders.
No. The thing is, we released it, and then it was like a huge surprise that people actually liked it. I made a link on Tumblr, and it was shared 160,000 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if you can get a roll on Tumblr, that's huge.
Oh my gosh,
that's
amazing.
Amazing, yeah, and I think people made YouTube videos and stuff, and it got shared everywhere, and I was like, okay, I think we can make a living from that.
So you got a pretty good kick from a little bit of viral marketing, basically.
It was totally luck, and especially like my books weren't the first crafting books. Do you maybe know Amethyst Angel? She is an American cosplayer, and she released armor making books already 10 years ago.
I think she still sold them printed out on like wire. papers.
Oh, like a spiral binder.
Like
on DVDs, I think. So we weren't the first one. We were just lucky. That was all. And then people asked for printed version, and we thought, okay, then we do the printed version. But instead of taking the risk, we set up a pre-order, so people were able to pre-order it, and we were able to cover the printing costs for that.
Yeah, that's a smart way to go about it, definitely. So since you have to put up so much money up front, so wow. So and then now you just finished. You said the sewing book, which was your I don't remember what
number 9. Yes,
number 9.
Yeah. So you reach out to Yaya at all? I know you. Those of you listening, you may or may not know. I know Yaya speaks German, and you guys are longtime friends now. I guess.
You have no idea how many times I told you to make a sewing book. You have no idea.
When people tell you to make books, you make them.
Yeah, I told him make a book.
Or I'm going to.
Actually, at least one friend listened to me, Narako Brock, and she also made a sewing book, which is also available in our shop. She's just not that well known international, but her sewing book is really good. So check it out.
So we try to sell it for her.
So we try to convince everybody to make a book. Everybody, make a book.
Books for everybody.
Yeah, right.
Was the sewing book the hardest one for you to complete because you've had to really create those skills and master that skill set on your own over the years? Like, was it hard to tell people how to do it?
Actually, it's always pretending that I can do something. Like for example, my foam gun book. Like how's it called? The foam
advanced prop making.
Advanced prop making with guns and rifles, and I have a foam gun inside. This was the very first foam gun I ever made. So and like in the sewing book, there's an example with a dress, how I made a dress following a pattern instruction. This was the very first time I actually ever followed a pattern instruction.
Oh my gosh.
But I think why our books are successful comes down to us being pretty good at breaking things down, because like there's a ton of people out there who are more talented than we are at pretty much everything we do. But like what we do good is that we can break it down and explain it in a really understandable and relatable way.
You're good teachers.
Maybe because of my bad English, because like my, like my English dictionary, how's it called? Wortschatz? Like the words I know in English, they're very limited. So I'm not really able to write very elaborate, So I write very simple for kids.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. That does make sense.
So maybe because of that, I don't know. And I think also, for example, like I also have a lot of sewing books at home, but there are pretty few I really like because they always are like, that people know already how to sew, they are not.
None of them start at zero.
Yeah, none of them are really for people who are, are scared to even look at their sewing machine.
Yeah, that's true.
And I went through all of this. I had trouble with LEDs. I had trouble with armor making. I had trouble with sewing. I had trouble with painting. So I actually know my audience pretty well. I always write my books basically for myself.
I was going to say, because you are your audience, and that actually is a great way to do it, because
it is. Yeah, that's a good tip.
You're learning and discovering while you're creating this at the same time.
Yeah,
that's actually kind of brilliant. Just saying.
Yeah, it is.
I think only
more like accidentally brilliant.
Yeah.
I didn't say you did it on purpose, but
yeah. It's like kids can write the best books for kids, right?
Oh, yeah, true. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have plans for, are you always cooking new book ideas? Like, are you prepared for your next book?
I'm prepared actually for the next 5 books or something.
Oh, wow. And Benny has to have them all done in a week. No.
1 week.
No. Right
5 days.
5 days.
Now it takes
you can do it, Benny. That's a day a book.
Yeah, I already started writing the next one. And the next one will be advanced LEDs. And then the next one, I wanted to make a foam armor book. And then the next one will be probably an advanced sewing book. And then the next one will be about 3D printing and laser cutting. And then the next one will be probably about photography.
Oh, wow.
So I have an idea for one if you want to write one to help me out.
Okay.
What about moving parts or mechanisms.
Oh, this will be advanced technology.
Oh, okay, advanced.
It's coming, but I still have to learn it. Actually,
if I can describe our current business plan in a sentence, probably spending all of our time learning things so we can teach it to other people.
Yeah.
What a fun job, though.
Yeah, what a great career.
Just 3 books, they were just armor making, painting, and prop making with Worbla and stuff. I already knew everything, but from the LED book, I had actually to learn that stuff and then to teach it then. Bring it down to a way that people are able to understand it, and me as well.
So my question is, if you're going to do a foam armor building book, have you talked to Bill from Punished Props, and he's going to do a Worbla armor building book at the same time? Because he's kind of famous for not liking Worbla. So So we're calling Bill out right now. Bill, if she can make a foam armor book, you can make a. If you're listening, you can make a Worbla book.
We believe in you, Bill. You can do it.
Yes. Worbla isn't that bad. It really isn't that bad.
You should write a book.
I actually, although I've been doing a lot of foam stuff because mostly Bill talked me into using foam after I did my first Worbla build when I first started all this stuff. I actually I don't mind using Worbla. I think it has some really great qualities, especially for people that have limited shop material, tools and stuff, because you literally can build anything with it with a pair of scissors, and a heat gun, and so I think, I don't know, it seems like the community is kind of divided a little bit. There's kind of your anti-Worbla and people out there, whatever.
It's just weird if you think about it.
It really is.
It really if you're looking at gaming, that whole console fanboyism is why not everything?
I don't know
we
why.
Cosplay Melee as well, and we see people are making stuff out of foam, and then they wrap it in Worbla. It's no, stop. Just printing and painting.
That's exactly what I was saying when I watch it. What I'm saying too, it's
my episode was a lot of work. I didn't know you guys watched. I'm so glad that you watched. I don't know if you saw my Thrown Off one with the Game of Thrones theme, but I was on the more Worbla episode. We kind of had themed, and they gave us all the Worbla we wanted, and I was like, I don't have time for this. So I just started using foam. Everybody else around me is using Worbla minus Edgar. He's using metal. But the time crunch for Worbla, Emily sandwiched all her costume pieces. I was like, girlfriend, she's double heat gunning, and I didn't have time. I don't work that fast with Worbla. So I did foam. I had no choice but to just start, cranking out foam pieces. So
I mean, Worbla's great for beginners. If you have a small work, not allowed to make a lot of dust or dirt in your room, it's great because you also don't need glue. More, I would say it's more for people who take their time making
I think it got just very hyped in the community, which is also my fault.
It's all your fault.
We blame you. It's all your fault.
But I think people think that, since everybody's using it, it has to be the best, so they have to do it. So that's also the reason why we're working a lot with foam now. We try to inspire people to try something else, and show them, hey, there's also something else as well. Because
also the same reason why we're using laser cutting and 3D printing and all the things now, because we're trying to tell people you don't have to stick to material. Look at your project, what's best for them, then just try out new stuff. Because it's the only way you're gonna develop as an artist if you're constantly trying to push yourselves.
But there's such a big divide with I don't know why this is, again, foam and Worbla versus each other. 3D printing versus, handmade things. Oh gosh, they're just as combative. And to me, I have a mix of all of that in here. And I 3D printed a Mercy barrel. For those of you watching, it's I wouldn't have made this if Jill hadn't made the file, and I just wanted to create it, because it allows you to have something that's so accurate and can be pulled from the game that obviously you could create with your hands, but it's a fun little side project. And some people, like you were saying, maybe 3D modeling is their form of art. So if that's true, then they should be able to print it and do what they want with it. I'm not, telling somebody they can't 3D print a costume. I love as many tools and as many things as you can incorporate. Just try as much as you can. I want a laser cutter. I can't believe that you're laser cutting armor pieces. To me, that's even crazy. So.
Oh, you will see the result. It would be pretty crazy.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a lot of
excited.
pieces.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to make it by hand.
Yeah, like we know actually 3 other people who are doing the same costume, and one of them or 2 of them are doing it with foam, and the other one is doing it with Worbla.
So it's gonna be interesting to see.
Oh my god, like cutting 1 million pieces out by hand because like this armor, they are like very technical, and there are several layers which you have to stack to create the same effect of the armor, and they have to cut like for example the armor piece on the hip, right? The hip.
On the hip. You have like a lot of tiny plates.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Costume.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and they are 4 of them, and these are like 80 plates each.
Oh, that's nothing for Jackie. Nothing at all.
Oh, shut up.
Jackie
And
loves
every of them has
loves little
3
teeny
layers.
pieces plated together. She just can do that all day long.
Oh
Yeah,
man, but it takes forever. I much prefer now that as I'm growing up as an artist, I like to have a machine that can do it for me. I much prefer that because it allows your hands to be free to do something else. It's like having a little robot that's working for you while you're doing something else. So
Yeah, the robot
That's
army, right?
More like the 3D printer, because that one takes for hours. With the laser cut, you still have to stand next to it and control, and it's basically like a printer just for
And
like
still
laser.
glue everything together.
Yeah,
And
so it's a little bit more work than a 3D printer.
Yeah. But that's really cool in the challenge.
I totally get what you're saying, Jackie, about the tools that you use, because like for me, I can paint, like whatever you throw at me, I can paint it, but building stuff with my hands, like gluing foam together, it's just too finicky for me. I just don't, I can't manage it. But
And he
like,
sits just
like, what am I doing with this?
oh my gosh.
Like I dabbed into 3D modeling lately because I just found enjoyment in it, and just like trying to get the shapes right. And it's probably the same enjoyment somebody who's into woodworking gets out of this stuff, because it's just like trying to find the shapes and everything. And it doesn't matter if you're doing digitally or manually by hand. It's the same for like drawing art on paper or with the tablet on the screen. It's still the same art that you're doing.
Yeah, that's
Just
so
a
true.
different way to get there.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, there's terminology that's similar. Like in 3D modeling, I have a Farah helmet that I sculpted by hand, and I'm also trying to 3D print. But I had to sculpt the files. You have to like smooth it out, and it's called sculpting. And I thought, what a fun thing! Like it really feels like that too, because you're moving that model like clay. It's weird little, not messy art.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And you can just Control Z and go back if you made a mistake, right?
Yes, that's the best thing.
Imagine having that in your workshop in real life. Like, I'm just going to reverse the last cut.
I need it.
Yeah, that is definitely iterations and being able to undo. Definitely a bonus of doing things digitally, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're working on a hand sculpture and you have to, Command Z, that's usually a big blob of clay or something, and a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Do you guys sculpt a lot of things and do casts? I can't remember the last thing I've seen. Do you guys do a lot of molds?
I never did it.
For this costume, because they're like all the little individual pieces, I'm casting because it wouldn't make sense to make them otherwise.
Okay, that's cool.
But we
Usually
never
just when it comes.
Oh yeah, you sculpted the Shadowmourne skull, right?
Like occasionally.
Oh,
it's not like, we know a couple of people who they sculpt everything, even though they don't have to.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of time, and it's very costly because you need the silicone and the resin and everything. But like we do it only if there's no other good way to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Yeah, it's definitely a quick, I mean, even if you're 3D printing something, I know a lot of guys that 3D print, but they'll make their master 3D printed, clean it up, and then make multiples through molding and casting, because it's just so much faster.
Yeah.
But we will clearly do a molding and casting book one day.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I didn't going through the list in my head. I don't think I heard a molding and casting book on the list. Maybe that's, one you need to add. So.
Well, my goal is actually 20 books, so there's some.
Before you retire.
Yeah.
Although I will say, Folkenstall Armory has a pretty good molding and casting book.
Yeah, we have it as well in our shop.
Yep. So there is a good resource, a good beginning resource out there already established from Anna. So.
Yeah, and Volpin has some stuff too. Like he has a whole write up, and he has his painting and weathering book, but he also has a lot of write-ups on how to do mold making. Like I looked up his little like step-by-step guide on matrix mold making last night, and so Harrison definitely has some guidance out there as well.
Yeah, and
I would encourage to do books. Like I would also be interested in more like a sculpting book from Solo Roboto, like Steven.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He has a sanding book, but I mean, sanding, there's only so much you can say about sanding.
Right? I know, right?
Sand, though.
But he's a great sculptor. So
I don't know if he loves to sand as much as it's just a necessary evil. Because I get a lot of crap for being a sanding guy, too.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, you must really love to sand. It's like, no, I hate it. I hate sanding. But
we like sanding.
But I like specific results. And the results I like come from a lot of sanding. So, but then I get, made fun of all the time because I'm the sanding guy. So whatever. I guess I'm
So while we're talking about sanding, I want to ask you guys, where do you do things like spraying and sanding? Because I know you live in your shop, or your shop is above you. So how do you control the mess?
Tour? Tour. Okay, so here's our workshop, basically. What do we have? We have like a big sewing table here for fabrics.
There, I'm working on a
very well lit sewing table.
Very well lit.
It's just been cleaned today, just for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
But basically, we have like a heavy-duty corner here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which is basically a lot of...
That's like a proper workbench setup with a belt sander and a scroll saw.
Saws and stuff like that. And we have a big, what's it called? Big dust collector that we can attach to every machine. And then also you can see behind me on the shelf, there's like a big... they're
my favorites. Yeah, like almost.
Yeah, on top of it, like a machine that sucks the air in and filters the dust out.
Your air filter there.
Yeah, right. And it collects a little bit here in the corner, but our room is pretty big, so even if stuff flies, you need to go all the way here and then down here to reach the living area, so it's not really a problem.
Yeah.
And then there's like the laser cutter and all the...
Does your laser cutter have to be vented?
Oh yeah, it just goes out of the window here.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much. Here it goes, and then I have like a tube when I turn it on.
Oh, I
can
see.
stick out of the window, basically.
Wow, that's such a large workspace. Oh my gosh, I love how open it is. It feels there's so much in your workshop. Like, look, I can't believe those costumes on display. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, you guys have a beautiful workshop. And for those that are just listening to this podcast, they basically have a big open loft style space. You have to. Very European looking, which is exactly what I would hope it would look like. So there we go. Because I love European style and design. So
yeah, and then here.
Is that your painting cabinet?
Yeah, it's basically just an repurposed IKEA shelf with like a hole in the back, and then
that's smart.
A filter that also goes out of the window, pretty much.
Is that a Lazy Susan?
What's a Lazy Susan?
Oh,
a turntable.
It's like this thing. A turntable, like
yeah.
Okay, that's clearly an American term.
Yeah, that's Lazy Susan. She's just hanging out in the corner. She just is in the shop every once in a while. Don't mind her.
I mean, we come from a background like when we were studying, we lived in a 66 square meter flat, which is like a three bedroom apartment with like four people all together, and 3 of them were cosplayers.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So you ran out of costume space quick, is what you're saying?
We ran out of costume space, so we had to get rid of the other 2 people, and then
they disappeared.
Yeah. And then after that, because you're just gonna store your stuff anyway, and if you buy tools, you quickly run out of space. So we had to move eventually to a bigger place. But we still got like a lot of the things that people who don't have access to like a big workshop where they can do a lot of noise, because for us it's also just an apartment. Like we have 5 other families who live in the same house, so
okay,
we're just lucky that the floor beneath us is ourselves as well, so we can make noise.
Jump around and the dogs can bark and everything.
But still, we try to keep the noise down and everything. Our tool is very convenient. Yeah, I'd say.
And we got pretty lucky with the apartment.
Yeah, the apartment is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful space. I would love to work there. So anytime you need a guest worker, just put me on the list, okay?
Okay, we need those here.
So, speaking of guests, I know that you've been doing a lot of like bookworking and things like that. I have seen that you you've kind of slowed down on guest appearances. Is that just because you've been to a lot of these cons, or because that's not the direction you want your career to go, or is it because you're a dog mom now?
Dog mom.
Honestly, I noticed that, you know, too much work just doesn't make me happy. And when I became self-employed, I think I did 8 full armor costumes, and in this year we traveled 6 times to the US alone in this year.
Had like 18 cons, I think.
We had 18 cons in one month. We had, I think, 3 or 4 different countries. Okay, so I still remember. We just came back from Canada at Wednesday, and then the next day we kept on driving to Gamescom in Cologne at Tuesday.
Yeah, and then we worked for 4 days.
We worked until Sunday at the Ride booth for 8 or 10 hours every day, and this was like not a normal convention day, you know. But I had a booth, and that booth I had life crafting. Yeah. I talked the whole time with people, answered around 1,000 times what is Worbla. People asked me for photos. I signed stuff, and I still had to judge costume competitions.
Oh my goodness!
And then in the evening at the hotel, since I spent so much time like traveling, I didn't have time to make a costume, so I made my costume at the hotel at the evening until midnight.
Okay, I'm exhausted just listening to the list.
Yeah.
I got really sick. Like at some point, I got pretty bad pain in my teeth, which spread over the half of my face, you know. Oh. And it gets so worse. I was not able to sleep. I started screaming in the middle of the night and stuff. And I almost collapsed at Saturday before the costume competition judging, and we had to drive to the emergency at Sunday, and I got filled up with painkillers, and at Monday we kept on flying to Singapore. And in Singapore I spent 2 days at the hotel just being sick and try to get some sleep.
Yeah. And that was pretty much the point where we said, okay, it's great that they all want to have us, but we can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
We can't.
So we try to reduce it as much as possible. Like the main reason why I got this doggo here, Zelda, is because we worked for several weeks until 2 a.m. in the night. You know, it was not like we have to do this, but I really enjoyed crafting. I really liked it, and it was fun, and I had a great time. But at some point, my body said, no.
Yeah.
And
especially if you're self-employed, you forget the point where you say stop to yourself, right?
Because, you know, like my hobby became my job. So the stuff I did in my free time was now my job and my free time. So I didn't have any free time at all and just keep working. So we decided to reduce this as much as possible. That's the reason why we get Zelda and now Minna as well.
Because just to be forced to go out walking,
we didn't
just doing nothing
went out and we just worked the whole time. And now we don't do that many cons. But, you know, we're just more happy if we stay at home and if we have time with our friends and family and with these 2 girls. And, you know, we want to find a way to work effectively. You know, if you're self-employed, it's very draining to be creative, to be there every day, to post something new, to learn new stuff every day, to be there for the people, to be always happy, to be excited, you know, to be there for your followers and fans at the convention. That's very exhausting. And if I wanna do this for the next 5 or 10 years at least, I have to
get to a level that's comfortable.
Yeah, you have to pace yourself.
Right, and that's the reason.
And also you have to try to be a good example, because there's so many people that ask us, like, I want to become a professional cosplayer, I want to make money with that, with my art and so on and so forth, and they're trying to push themselves so they can get an advantage over other persons, and you have to show them a way that you can pick what you want to do. You don't have to do everything. If you're good at something, don't overdo it, because it can stop being fun at a point, and you never want to reach that point. So like we know many cosplayers, for example, that do it professionally, that go, how many conventions?
30, 40.
30 to 40 conventions a year, and he goes sometimes to 2 conventions at the same weekend for different days in different countries. I'm like, how the hell do you keep this up?
That's...
Don't take the fun out of it.
It's not sustainable. You'll burn out. And then, I mean, if you drain yourself dry doing what you love, then what are you going to do after? It'll be terrible. You know.
People are also asking us if we maybe stream on Twitch, for example. But that's also just too exhausting for us. We now started Patreon, but also with the concept that we keep everything free and we won't do any extras. And if people want to support it, they can do it. If not, that's totally fine. But we just keep on doing what we do anyway, you know. But we don't force ourselves to work even more. And
we don't try to jump on every hype train that comes along. Like people use Snapchat and people are starting Twitch and everything. And like, oh, you have to do it too. And there's so many new cosplay community pages that you have to join and everything. We're like, nah, just
you don't want to dilute the brand. You have a very clean, polished kind of image. And if you just spread it everywhere, you can dilute it, and you don't want to do that.
Also, like, why?
No,
like, what for? If you want to stream, like, you don't stream just to stream. Like, if you're the person who's that outgoing and who enjoys doing it, then okay. But if you're like us and you just like we're more of a private person.
We're Germans. That's the difference. We're German. Like right now we're smiling.
Okay. So is that
you're brooding.
So you're basically wearing your you're wearing your podcast faces today. I see. Yeah. I see. Okay. Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate you bringing in the smile.
I applied makeup after 1.5 months again.
Just for you.
Well, thank you.
Nice.
I was going to say. Go ahead.
You look very lovely.
Thank you very much. I always was out of practice.
Well, you have really good skin, so you don't need a lot of makeup. Gosh, I wish. I have at least a pound on.
It's the German humidity in the air.
Yeah. No sun, just rain.
Yeah, sun, just rain.
So talking about kind of just cosplay in general for you, you mentioned, you really enjoy the crafting part of it, and maybe how were you ever comfortable with because when you're a cosplayer and you get popularity and stuff and you have to show off your costumes, obviously photography becomes a part of that. Is the photography part a part that you enjoy at all, or is it more just you do it because that's just kind of the next step in unveiling your next piece? Do you understand what I'm saying? Asking?
Actually, like taking photos of a costume is like part of the job.
Yeah.
So I admit I don't really like attention. I know it sounds weird, but I go to my favorite convention. Huh?
Go ahead. I totally understand I totally get the whole.
You're German. I believe that.
I go to my favorite conventions out of costume. Like to BlizzCon. My best BlizzCon was out of costume, or my next local convention, Dokumi, here in Germany, I won't wear a costume as well because, I just like to be with my friends and hide green. So, I don't like to collect all the photographers around me. Usually when I finish a costume, we just go out and take a few photos with Benny.
I don't know if you saw the blog post that Svetlana did a little while back about the fun in cosplaying.
Yeah.
Because we don't do things just because everybody thinks they should be done. Like debuting a costume, a new piece. It's like, why do you need to do it? Is it recommended to just, if you're having fun building it, do you need to have the finished picture at the end of a building, or can you just take 2 months off and then post it afterwards?
Exactly.
It doesn't really matter if you think about it. And as long as you have fun doing what you do, then that's good for you.
And for me, the fun is crafting. So I don't really care about taking good photos of my costume.
It's great when the opportunity rises up. When it's a beautiful day outside and it's getting slowly spring in Germany. So when we go out and we see a great forest with a lot of colors, then we probably think that would be a nice spot to take a photo shoot. And then we're going to do it then, but not because it's recommended to.
Yeah, but it's pretty handy that, Benny is my photographer and I edit my photos by my own. And so I don't need to depend on any photographers. Like if we go to a convention and the photographer is asking me if we want to take a few photos, then I'm totally fine, but I don't really set any photo shoots or anything. And I'm pretty free and I just do whatever.
Yeah, I was just mostly curious about that kind of modeling side of it because, you know, some people really enjoy that side of it and it's fun for them and they, you know, and if you like having your picture taken, great. I'm kind of in the same realm as you, whereas I'd rather just be in my workshop building stuff. And every once in a while I go to a con and put on a costume and maybe have a couple pictures taken and then feel really awkward as those pictures are being taken. So, but I also have the added benefit of having 2 teenage daughters. Well, one's not a teenager anymore because I'm an old guy. But having 2 daughters that I can build things for, and then they are the ones that get the photos taken, you know, and that's like the sweet spot. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. So, how about you, Jackie?
I mean, like
photography
I hate taking photos so much. Like I hate getting. I mean, I love seeing someone's really nicely edited version of my costume, but I don't know. I don't consider myself a very good model. I have a very like. What do I do with my face?
That was like, slick, Finny. Very slick.
Yeah, it's very slick. I don't. But I will say that like I have friends that the power of having like a couple that takes the photos and edits them in this community is great because like you said, like having to set up a photo shoot, having to go somewhere off location, having to plan it around your crazy craft schedule, put makeup on that day, go take the costume. Like it can be a little tedious if you have a whole lot of, you know, costumes. So I usually feel like if I have one good shot of the costume, that's fine. I don't need to take a whole bunch of pictures of it. I don't really care that much, but it's definitely the process. I like to take pictures of the process, and it's I want to, since I know we're heading towards the end here, and I have 2 more things I wanted to mention, and one of which is why you started your Patreon. But I also wanted to ask you really quickly, how do you feel about posting fails, pictures of things? Because you are very much, you know, kind of like a crafting elite kind of part of the community, and everybody thinks that you get it right every time. How do you feel about like posting something that is just a disaster or talking about, does it make you feel weird to share a fail or?
Well, you're forgetting one thing, Jackie.
Yeah, she never fails.
They're German. They get it right every time.
That's what I'm just assuming.
Not really. Especially when it comes to sewing, I'm never really sure if it works. Like there was this dress which I included to my sewing book, which I made 7 times. I didn't post every single dress I failed on, but sometimes I don't post anything for a pretty long time because I'm not sure if it works or not. Like the pants I made for Alloy right now, I made them 3 times because I didn't find the right fabric, right? And I'm also just human. I don't like to post something if it doesn't work out. Like when I know it worked, then I show it. But before that, as long as I don't know if I manage it somehow or not, I don't really like to talk about it.
But you're also showing that it's not working out.
Yeah, I show it, but like just when I come to the right direction, you know.
Right, like that makes sense.
It's easier to show if you failed, if you still have the finished piece in the end. Like, look, it's done, but I failed so many times.
But here's what I had to do to get there.
I failed and it's still not done.
Yeah, I like that.
Failed and failed.
I also think what you're doing every now and then is just posting your first costume you made.
Yeah.
Just in comparison, so people can see that you start somewhere, because they all expect like, oh yeah, my big costume debut, the first thing I made didn't get such a good reception. Like, what are you talking about? Just look at our first costume.
I always appreciate that
too. Oh, go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say, I always appreciate that because I've seen you post that several times where here is where I started, here is where I am now. And, you know, and there's been a lot of years between there too. I mean, it's not like you made one year and then 6 months later you made the other one. I mean, you've had really a pretty long career as a maker. And getting to where, you know, I'm sure now if you have to, you know, even though you're not doing Worbla type armor stuff as much anymore, I mean, you could really bust out a Worbla armor piece pretty quick now, I'm assuming, right? Yeah. I mean, you have the
Cosplay Melee.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if I can finish a whole costume in 2 days. Especially, I'm basically lost without him. Like I can finish the whole costume, but it won't
Who's
be
gonna paint
painted.
it?
But
yeah.
it won't be painted.
Yeah,
You're the Worbla knight.
Yeah.
How do you do attachments?
How do I make pattern? I have no idea how to make patterns alone. Usually Benny wraps myself and cuts me free. Like, ooh.
I hate pattern
I
making.
love patterns. I don't understand. I love patterns so much. I have so many patterns all over. I love the art of pattern making. I find it so, I don't know, therapeutic. It's weird.
I find it so tedious.
Yeah. But speaking of quick builds, would you, if Cosplay Melee ever asked you to be a judge, would you judge on the show?
Actually, they asked me.
Oh,
to be a judge?
Yeah, actually, they asked me. What was it? Last year or 2 years ago?
The end of last year.
Yeah. So I talked with them, but it didn't work out. I think it was mainly because I'm first from Germany. And like flying me over would be pretty expensive, especially since, it's not just the flight, but they also have to pay me outside of the workshop. And I don't really think like my language skills are not TV safe, ready, like it's very hard for me to make short, clear sentences, So
always talk around a word that you don't know.
Yeah, and sometimes I have problems to understand people, and especially if I'm nervous, like I don't know if I will manage that.
Yeah, but I think at a point in planning where they were planning on having new judges every time. So I think it's easier now. I think they settle on just doing the same as every time. So they probably look for something more convenient to film.
I think they did. Yeah, I know that they had. There's a couple other. Obviously, Bill was one. I know that they talked about trying to get a guest judge, but they couldn't do scheduling. Like I imagine they probably even asked Yaya. I mean, most of like that community of teachers like that you guys are, I'm sure they reached out, but it's so hard. Our scheduling time changed 3 times, like 3 different times of the year before we even knew when we were gonna film. So I think they were struggling to get the judging thing just right. And
it's probably not easy handling so many different time schedules.
Yeah. But it would have been really nice to have you.
Yeah. But other than that, I just wanted to say, like, I like how the show turned out because it's very crafty and centered about the fun of crafting. Yeah. Like it's never really competitive. Like it's people helping out each other, and all episodes end with like a note on somebody telling what's great about
how positive the community is to what's great about cosplay, and they at the beginning they have a dream and then one of them reached them and like super happy, and that's a really joy to watch.
Like it's not easy watching it in Europe, and I don't think it's a big thing here because there's no way to really watch it here
without getting any viruses or whatever.
So you have to go to like virus infested streaming site to watch it, and that's like not how you want it.
That's never good.
Yeah.
No, I wish the SyFy had it internationally. It's such a shame.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm kind of surprised it's not. I mean, considering
Face Off is all across the world now. They have it like dubbed and whatnot. So I guess it just depends. Since it's the beginning season, they're like,
I guess so.
It could be that it's coming, but like everybody, like we're all connected to each other via social media. Everybody knows how the season's gonna end in the episode. So
thanks, Jackie. Everybody knows who's gonna win. So.
And you guys are spoiling us anyway.
I know. Gosh, I spoiled him.
Morning, and it's
this person won.
I was scrolling Facebook the morning after Steven won, and. And he was, and somebody was giving him a hard time, and he was like, "Hey, I at least waited until it aired on the West Coast." It's like the very next day, and I'm okay with that. If people want to talk to it a day after it airs, that's fine. I think it's just one of those things that you can't really avoid it no matter what, because not everybody can watch it when it's on, when it at the time frame. And so how long do you wait? If you're going to wait, does everybody supposed to wait 2 weeks? But
we can't because of the network. The network would be furious if we didn't promote it.
And you guys have pressure from the network saying, "Hey, promote our show, promote our show, promote our show."
Because they send us social media.
Germans are still asleep. So, if there's like one thing about the show that I'm.
Don't be so negative.
No. I like hearing about people's ideas.
If there's one thing the thing about making a costume like that in 2 days, even though it's probably not exactly 2 times 8 hours that you're going to have the time for, it's still very intimidating for newcomers because they look at it, I'm never going to be able to do that in 2 days.
I still think there are 48 hours.
They just describe it as 2 days.
And they say it's 2 days.
I don't know.
You're saying you're a little skeptical of the timeline, is what you're saying.
Because we know how long things take, so it's a little bit.
It's TV magic.
Speed.
Yeah, and I will say that there are Easter eggs. So if you watch the show, that those of us as crafters, you'll see somebody is using something that we all know takes 2 hours to fully harden, and all of a sudden it's the end of the show, and they've have it painted. So for American TV, they just kind of take it at face value. But us as crafters, like, we know that resin or that epoxy sculpt is gonna, still gonna be soft in 45 minutes. What do you mean?
If you look at it closer, there's some TV magic going on. Like, there's one guy who lost 15 pounds in 10 minutes, and there's
Steven actually told last time where he got his mask from. Because I wondered, okay, if he now sculpted this and then it dried and then he molded and casted it.
What the hell? This guy just had a mask.
It was just there.
Let's just say that there's definitely some pre-planning that goes into being on the show.
Yeah, like I have my
at the table.
Or somebody is in the background. Stop sleeping! No sleeping! No.
No, they use cattle prods. It's like a little.
I managed to take my dragon mold home though, and so I've remolded another dragon from my shield. So luckily, I made off with something because they keep all the pieces. So those of you that end up watching this online, you'll see my little dragon.
That's so cool. I hope you get it back one day.
Oh man, I wish. I mean, I don't want my shoulders back, that's for sure. But I love my chest piece. I love that, and I had a gut ripper and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. I will. They had at WonderCon this year. They had the first 2 winners on display there. So I guess they're going to be using them for whatever they use them for. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get a rematch. I'm hoping for that.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh yeah, my daughter's back there. I'm not sure.
So since we're
sorry.
We both sorry. So since we're coming to an end, I want to mention something because obviously supporting someone like you, both of you, that does so much teaching in the community and so helpful. You had some kind of issues with YouTube, I know, and that's always been an issue with making some money off of YouTube, making a living. So you've started a Patreon for people to. So tell us where we can find you and how to help out, and that is it structured? Is it not structured? Why is it not structured?
No, we tried, like, we're looking at things other people do, and we see like a lot of cosplayers hopping on to Patreon, and a little bit it bums me out that people are hiding all their creative things behind a paywall. It's like, pay me so-and-so, and you can see my progress. It's like, I don't think that's what's the community about. So
they're totally right. They can totally do it.
Yeah. And it's just like we wanted to do it differently. So.
No, we are lazy. That's the thing. We
so honest.
Benny tries to describe it differently, but like I said, we already put so much time and work into our books and into the taxes, into the costume making, the conventions, that we cannot put any extra, into
that
it
doesn't
more.
Sound lazy. I don't think you know.
I think that maybe is lazy different in Germany. I mean,
we are vlogged on YouTube, like I said on the video, since we started the YouTube channel in 2010. We made $8 in total, and because we got vlogged, it always felt basically like a waste of time to make these videos. Like, the only return we got from the videos was buy my books.
Buy my books.
That's
why we promote the books so openly. So buy the books now.
But it's a good way to support you guys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because we want to do videos, and we like to help people out with their problems and show techniques, but like, we also have to pay our bills. So we can't just record 2 days straight and get nothing back from it. So we have to advertise our books.
Yeah. Well, we have to work, find the most efficient way to make money. Basically, we're artists, but we still have to pay our bills, and make money from our art since we're self-employed.
So the idea behind Patreon, coming back to that, basically was doing it open. So if people like the videos we put out, they can dip in and give whatever they want. So there are no tiers or rewards or stuff like that. And whenever we do a video, we're going to charge for it. So you don't have to pay anything if we don't make videos. So it's not like a subscription or anything. And then basically when we do a video, everybody can see it still on all our channels. So we're not going to hide anything. So if they want to support us, that's cool. You don't have to do it to see the videos.
So in a way, your Patreon is more like a tip jar in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're still providing this content for free, but if you believe enough of what we do and you appreciate it, then we have this opportunity for you to be able to give back a little bit, because this is our job and we do have bills to pay. So
yeah.
Right, except that we're only grabbing into the dip jar when we actually make a video.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that.
Kind of a question that goes along with that. If you were to, I'm sure that you had many conversations about whether or not you wanted to do it that way or be more of a paywall type situation. Do you think that maybe like a little bit of concern would you ever discuss concern of like maybe people getting upset if you started doing more of a paywall kind of thing? Because up to this point, other than the cost of your books, all of your video content and stuff has been free, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're asking for money now. And because it seems like that's like one of the things that turns people off a little bit with some of the Patreon stuff that I've noticed. Was that a concern for you guys? I mean, or was it more just like,
I mean, it's like Svetlana said, like everybody has the right to do whatever they want with their content. Nobody's obligated to share all their stuff for free because they spend time doing it. So it's totally fine if someone asks money to get the content.
But we basically see it again in a business way, because every single post, every single video, every single blog entry, like every single thing we post is basically advertisement for books. When I make my post, if you notice it, I say, I made it like this and that. If you want to learn it, get our books. So it wouldn't be simply effective to hide these posts, to hide this promotion for our books.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because maybe we will find people who want to pay for this content they still want to see, but if now 20 people are paying for the content, before that we reached 100,000, 50,000 people before with every single post. So basically it would, like, hiding content behind the paywall would destroy our income. So
it doesn't work for your business model.
Yeah, that makes total sense for the type of model that you've set up. So
but that's only for us though, because we have books. Like if we wouldn't have the books and we would get nothing in return for all the stuff we share, we probably would think differently about it.
We would make it. I also don't like the feeling, like I cosplay now for such a long time. I got so much from the cosplay community. So many free tutorials helped me, inspired me to create something, helped me. So I want to give something back, and I don't want to give it only to these people who want to pay for that. And especially, I was a student as well. I spent all my money on my costumes. I didn't bought any clothes. I didn't bought any sweets. Didn't went to the cinema. Didn't went out for my friends. I spent all my money for my costumes. And so I understand these people who have maybe only pocket money, who already have debts for their university or whatever. They don't have money. Like, even if it's $5, maybe, they simply don't want to spend these $5 and they don't want to ask them for this money. So if they want, they can still buy my books, but they also get everything for free. Like, for example, if you want to learn how to make LEDs, you don't need to buy my book. You can just watch the video on YouTube and stuff. And I uploaded everything on YouTube about sewing and stuff. And if you want to get something extra, you can buy the book for $5. You can get it printed for $20. I don't care, but I still want to, give as much as possible for free and support the community.
Well, that's and again, the whole community definitely appreciates the fact that you're doing that. With Patreon, the way you set it up, has it been successful for you guys? Have you been happy with the response of it? Or
it's been pretty good.
Yeah. never thought about that, but apparently people like it, which is cool.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good idea. I was refreshingly surprised to see your transparency. Like, hey, this is what we're dealing with. This is why we're doing this. So if you want to, pat us on the back for helping you build your first rifle, then we appreciate that. So I love your kind of Adam Savage mentality of putting it out there, sharing it, and just if the community wants to support you, they will, and they do. People. Obviously, you're such a positive person, despite your brooding German personality.
Well, only right now. After that,
yeah, I love it. I love that you share so much and put a lot of time into your videos. I think you're very helpful, and that's I don't know. It's a great. I wish more. I hope other people will rally behind your kind of format and share their tips and techniques and kind of have a little transparency with it. So.
Yeah, I hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaking of Adam Savage, who's somebody that Jackie and I both look up to quite a bit. And you guys are, as Kamui Cosplay, are people that we look up to and other people look up to as far as builders and makers and, where you want to be. Is there anybody that you guys kind of look at and go, wow, that they really inspire me, the work that they do? Is there anybody you can think of off the top of your head that?
That's a good question. Yeah.
That you draw inspiration from?
Like for me, it was pretty weird when I got into cosplay. Pretty much until 2010, I was pretty alone. I didn't speak any word English, so I didn't went to any English sites, and there was no cosplay community in Germany, pretty much. And everything I know with weird expanding foam stuff, the stuff with Worbla, all these weird techniques, I discovered them all by myself. I never had people who inspired me to try something out until I started learning English in 2010. So I was pretty much alone for the most time of my cosplayer being. And I mean, right now I surely have amazing friends who are also, I look up to them, like Yaya Han with their sewing, Harrison and Bill, and also in general, the whole cosplay community. I follow all these people, all my friends and all the other artists on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube every day. And every day I want to try out these things they tried out. So the whole community is for me an inspiration. But when I started with cosplay, there was not really anybody who I looked up to, simply because I didn't speak English.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you learn English for cosplay? I'm just really. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
so cool.
You failed your class, right?
Yeah,
You failed your class.
I failed my class. I almost failed it. Actually, yeah, in 2009, I won the Blizzard costume competition in Europe, which was still at this time a silly online uploading picture thing. I think 5 people competed in it, and I uploaded 3 Druid tier sets and one of them a trip to BlizzCon, and I didn't speak a single word English. I didn't understand anybody, and people come to me and say, hey, blah blah blah. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. And I still remember I was at BlizzCon and people started lining up to take photos of me, and this was super weird because in Germany people take only photos of you in your costume, but not with you.
Not with you, yeah.
And then people came like, and, Germany, you don't really, you're not so huggy like the Americans,
Oh my gosh.
I was like, people touching me, and then I asked me, hey, what shall I say? That stop that. And when he said, you can say, please don't touch me. And people came to me and said, don't touch me.
Oh my gosh, that's such a funny cultural difference. It hadn't occurred to me, but it makes perfect sense that the Europeans would be a little more reserved. We're very touchy.
So, and after that, I thought, hey, let's learn English.
So you can tell them, please don't touch me in a polite way.
Yeah, and
I know that's pretty rude.
Did you quickly learn to say cosplay is not consent? Is that what? Yeah.
I never had to do this. For some reason, people are pretty scared of me, I think, when I'm cosplaying. I'm walking with my Bavarian, and then, they don't cross my way.
Well, your English has come a very long way. That's funny. I didn't realize that you hadn't been speaking it your whole life. The very first time I met you was KatsuCon, maybe 3 years ago, and I stood in a line. You had a long line of people wanting to meet you, and Benny was with you. And I said something to you about your English, and he's like, "Yeah, but she doesn't really get sarcasm yet." So have you evolved? Do you get sarcasm now?
I don't know.
Some of it.
I'm working on that.
Are you sarcastic in German? Like, are you sarcastic with him? Oh, she is? Okay, so she'll eventually get there.
Germans are sarcastic.
It's the only way you can talk in German.
Yeah, the biggest
it's implied always in German.
Huh? In Germany is passt schon. And passt schon means that's okay. That's the biggest compliment.
Interesting. Oh my gosh.
So I had also a lot of problems when people said, "Oh my God, you look so amazing!"
Like, no, I don't.
You do.
Oh my gosh.
So I actually had to force myself to put like awesome or amazing in every single post or sentence I think, because otherwise people think I'm rude. Like,
you need a shirt that says, "I'm not rude, I'm just German."
Yeah, I know. And I still remember I was for a pretty long time in America, and I was, like become super happy and and super happy. And then I flew to Singapore or was it to Singapore? I think so, yeah. And I was still like, woo! And like in Singapore, people are even more, distant than in Germany. And then one of the convention organizers came to me and wanted to give me his hand, and I was like, hi!
So everybody in Singapore is like, man,
it was probably like this.
Asian guys like, oh, what's wrong?
So everybody in Singapore is like, wow, those Germans are really excitable.
Yeah, I think so.
I've never thought about just kind of different interactions with people from different nationalities and how emotion and excitement's expressed. Because
have you ever thought about coming to a con in Europe?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh too. Yeah, I think about it all the time. I just can't afford to do it. So.
Well, I spoke to one person, Joey from MCM London. I talked to him for a while, and the MCM chain, as you guys probably know, I talked to him for a while, and it blew my mind how different guesting is in Europe than America. So America, you may see 10 cosplay guests, and they may be kind of like an intro level, cardboard cosplayer just getting started, all the way up to somebody who's mold making crazy flesh detailed masks. But in Europe, there isn't really a lot. So far what I've seen, they don't do a lot of guesting of the beginner level. They really want you to be an artisan if you're a cosplay guest. They have very high.
There are no levels in the costume competition.
Oh yeah, that's true. There's just kind
really?
of
It's just.
No.
It's
just participate.
Just
good luck.
You're in there.
Good luck.
You're in there against everybody.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Also in Germany, I think the first convention that invited guests was last year.
Yeah, I think so.
Before that, they never had cosplay.
Actually, Yaya was the very first guest.
Yeah, but she only.
I think she was the only international guest, and she mainly, I think.
Because they're like, if you're a cosplayer and want to come, then come like everybody else. Like, why should we invite you?
Yeah. Joey actually said that at MCM they don't even give cosplayers like tables or something. You're not like a cosplayer that has a table where people come up and talk to you and sign prints and stuff. They have a very different
starts, but like for a pretty long time, the cosplay community in Europe, it was more like everybody is on the same level. There are no idols and no cosplayers who are better or whatever. Which is
good, I think.
Which is good, and like even if you won some costume competitions, it doesn't mean that you're better than somebody else. And
you're just lucky.
Yeah, so we don't raise anybody. And for example, I think also my very first invitation to a German convention was just last year.
Wow.
To a comic convention. But I also never get invited to any German Comic Cons, to any conventions in general.
That's
because
crazy.
Like especially in Germany, like they have a few guests, but it's not like, I don't know, it just started. It's pretty weird.
They don't want to give someone the advantage of being a guest.
Or to raise somebody, So
they like that everybody is kind of talking to everybody else on the same level.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you're inviting someone as a guest, they are like the guest, and you're talking.
Yeah, then it kind of elevates.
Than just talking to each other.
The thing is, we had it's actually like we always had panels. We always had crafting panels. We always had competitions. We always had cosplayers who judged competitions. So there is actually no reason to invite any cosplay guests because there are already cosplayers who are doing all this stuff, which a cosplay guest would actually do.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, a weird part of me kind of likes that because it can get a little, not everybody's this way. And I don't mean to attack anyone, but it can get a little, snobby.
Yeah.
If there's too many people that are all on the same level and they start to see themselves as guests and they expect to be a guest at a lot of events. And I don't know. I really feel like I like it when it's an equal playing field and everybody respects everybody and how much effort they put into something, even if it is completely a different medium or outcome than something you've created. I like the respect that artists give each other in the cosplay community. So I can understand that.
Yeah. I mean, I also the European cosplay community is just very crafty orientated. And
it's very, very dedicated.
Yeah, it's more about, it's about your skill and what you build and not how you look,
In Germany, no one cares if you're popular. If you're not good at anything, then they won't look at you.
So it's really your skill level that dictates whether you're kind of
a sexy costume of something, nobody cares, So,
yeah, unless it's a really sexy costume that is unbelievably immaculate, maybe made of stained glass or something, then you could be something different. But you have to.
Yeah, right. So it's pretty different here.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna have to come to a German con. Is Gamescom? Is there a lot of cosplay there?
Don't go to Gamescom.
Don't go. Okay.
Don't go. Go to Document.
So what's I might have cut you off. What's a con that you'd recommend that happens in Europe that
Dokumi.
What is it?
Like my favorite convention is Dokumi.
Okay.
Which happens like in a trade hall.
Trade fair. Yeah.
Trade fair, and it's next to a Japanese garden and a park.
Like a huge park.
Super beautiful, and it always at the time where the cherry blossoms are blooming and it's warm and shiny. It's spring.
Probably not even half the people buy tickets. They just go there to hang out at the park. So it's basically
like a
whole park just full of people taking photos and hanging out.
So, and there's a lot of cosplay going on at that con.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. And and now is that in Germany or is it somewhere else in Europe?
Yeah,
it's in Germany.
In Germany.
Yeah,
oh,
it's
cool.
like Katsucon, but just outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about favorite cons, and probably wrapping up soon, or should be, because we'll have you all day. We could talk to you all day. I know I could. I have a million questions.
Just like a second part.
Yeah. Are you planning any American cons? I know since you are cutting back on guesting, I saw you aren't attending BlizzCon this year, which kind of shocked me.
Yeah, we actually, we will be at A-Kon in Texas, right?
Yeah. And Fort Worth.
Yeah, that's our only American convention. No, we won't be at BlizzCon because I think we were the last 5 times there. And at some point, it's not that exciting anymore.
You need a pause.
So really, despite of, it's BlizzCon.
Yeah.
But last time I was like, maybe I'll take a break, just to come back with even more excitement.
Yeah, I can see that.
And instead of BlizzCon, we're flying to Australia to convention. So
I think that's a pretty good trade-off.
Yeah,
that is. You need that. You need that. That's really cool.
If you're not going to do BlizzCon, you might as well go to Australia.
I think we put Japan on top for vacation, so I'm excited.
Oh man, Japan.
Yeah. The thing is, we are pretty limited on time since Benny's parents have to take care for the dogs.
Oh yeah.
We cannot just fly around the whole time, so we only fly once a month out, and then we have to consider which country. And I want to see Japan again, and we've never been to Australia.
Oh, awesome. That's
cool.
Great. Yeah, I've never been to Japan or Australia, so either one would be fine with me.
I've been to New Zealand, but not Australia. I want to go to Australia. Hopefully, eventually I'll make it out there.
Cool.
All right. So, I think that's probably about a limit for a show. And I just want to thank you guys for being on again.
Yes.
And
thank you so much. Thank you.
Kamui Cosplay. All the links will be on the post. So if you guys, the listeners out there, if you haven't heard of Kamui Cosplay and you want to follow them on the social medias, check out the website, buy some books. Hey,
Yes.
you know,
Buy the books.
is there anything you guys would like to say before we say goodbye?
Just thanks a lot for your support and for having us here. It was a great time.
Well, again, I know you guys are super busy, and having you
and
as a
keep on the
guest.
podcast. We want to see more shows.
Hey, you know, I've had a lot of people ask me, and I said, as long as we're having fun, we're going to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
So,
and look at this guest that we start with. Are you kidding? This must be a good luck charm.
Where do we go from here, really?
It only go downhill from here.
You blessed us.
So anyway, just want to sign off and say thank you to all the listeners for I'm not going to say tuning in because it just seems kind of old-fashioned to me, but for watching.
Oh, it's okay, Eric. We know you're old-fashioned. You can say tuning.
For watching this episode of Craft and Geek. And goodbye. See you guys later.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.